Guna Vyatikara Parinama Svabhavataha Karmano Janma Mahatat Purusha Dishtita Abut. Please repeat. Anyone?
Guna Vyatikara Parinam Svabhavataha Kamano Janmahata Purusha Dishtita Kaladuna Vitakara Parinama Vavidvata Kamano Jaman Muhata Purusad Histitat Abut
Purusha Dishtita Abut. Kaladuna Vyatikara Parinama Svabhavataha Karmano Janmahata Purusha Dishtita Abut. Kaladuna Vyatikara Parinama Svabhavataha Kamano Janmahata Purusha Dishtita Abut.
Kaladuna Vyatikara Kamano Janmahata Purusha Dishtita Abut.
So, word for word, Kalat, from eternal time.
From eternal time.
Guna Vyatikara, transformation of the modes by reaction. Transformation of the modes by reaction. Parinama, transformation. Svabhavata, from the nature. Karmana, of activities. Janma, creation.
Mahata,
of the Mahatattva. Purusha Adhishtitat, because of the Purusha incarnation of the Lord. Abut, it took place. So the translation is, after the incarnation of the first Purusha, Karana Vashayi Vishnu, the Mahatattva, or the principles of material creation, take place. And then time is manifested, and in course of time, the three qualities appear. Nature means the three qualitative appearances. They transform into activities. So please repeat. After the incarnation of the first Purusha, Puranavashayi Vishnu, the Mahatattva, or the principles of material creation, take place. And then time is manifested. And in course of time, the three qualities appear. Nature means
Nature means
the three qualitative appearances.
the three qualitative appearances.
They transform into activities.
They transform into activities.
So, purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Srila Prabhupada.
By the omnipotency of the Supreme Lord, the whole material creation evolves by the process of transformation and reactions, one after the other. And by the same omnipotent omnipotency, by the same omnipotency, they are wound up again one after another and conserved in the body of the Supreme. Kala, or time, is the synonym of nature and is the transformed manifestation of the principles of material creation. As such, Kala may be taken as the first cause of all creation, and by transformation of nature, different activities of the material world become visible. These activities may be taken up as the natural instinct of each and every living being, or even of inert objects. And after the manifestation of activities, there are varieties of products and byproducts of the same nature. Originally, these are all due to the Supreme Lord. The Vedanta Sutra and the Bhagavatam thus begin with the absolute truth as the beginning of all creations. Janma Jasha Yataha. So, once again, it's after the incarnation of the first Purusha, Karanalakshvayi Vishnu, the Mahatattva, the principles of material creation, take place. And then time is manifested, and in course of time, the three qualities, which is goodness, passion, and ignorance, nature, they appear. Nature means the three qualitative appearances. They transform into activities. So this is actually, all of the speculation of the mundane scientists are, this shows the futility of their and uselessness of their childish behavior, like you were saying yesterday, playing with in a sandbox. Literally, they're playing with grains of atoms. The grains of sand make atoms look very large. They're just playing around, trying to figure things out, trying to find out how all this is caused. The great mystery of creation. How has this come? Or maybe it's not even here. Maybe it's just all an illusion. It doesn't really even exist. And so they have so many things that they throw out. But here's the sublime nature of what we're doing. Approximately several thousand years ago, there was thousands of the most elevated transcendentalists and yogis and self-realized souls who gathered in a very auspicious place known as Namasharanya, and they are concerned about the future of civilization or society of the human on the earth planet, because the age of Kali is coming, which is a very dangerous time. So they start to perform austerities, and they then approach Sutta Goswami, who then relays to them what he overheard being discussed by the son of Sukadeva Goswami, by the son of Srila Vyasadeva, the literal incarnation of the Lord, Sukadeva Goswami talking to the emperor of the planet, Maharaj Pariksit, who is about to die, and he is asking Sukadeva Goswami to help him prepare for that transformation. And then, while doing that, Sukadeva Goswami then refers back to a conversation with Narada Muni, the great transcendental guy, great spaceman who just chants around playing his veena, chanting the holy name, and creating situations to help facilitate the Lord's pastimes. And he's asking who he assumes that the creator, Lord Brahma, his father, and because that's all he sees. But he also notices that Lord Brahma is performing austerities and penances, and he wonders, are you the original creator? So we're getting our information directly through a chain of very elevated transcendentalists who have no greed, no ill motives, no lust, no envy, and only out of deep compassion for the suffering jivas in the Kali Yuga are wanting to know what is the best thing. And then Pariksit Maharaj is also wanting to know what is the best thing to do in this world of death. And Narada Muni wants to know who's really the creator, because he's asking Lord Brahma. And Lord Brahma's like, he's the secondary creator, which we'll find out. He's sort of like after I say you build a house, and then you hire an interior decorator. And the interior decorator comes in and says, sets everything up. This will be the dining room. Over here we'll do like this, we'll have this color here. He sets everything up. So Lord Brahma begins to describe to him how this creation takes place. And so this is how we're receiving this information. So there is no mystery. We're getting, and if you think about it, which seems really more logical? There is a God, there is a supreme controller. He may not fit your Judeo-Christian view of what a God should be, but because he is God, he's ever fresh. He's eternally youthful. He's full of knowledge. He's full of all opulences. And he's the supreme proprietor. And at a certain point, he expands himself, the original Krishna, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anandi Anadya Govinda Sarva Karna Kama, the cause of all causes, which is the title of this chapter. He expands himself into Mahavishnu, Pranavashayi Vishnu. And Vishnu, Mahavishnu, goes and he glances over the unmanifested material nature. Just by his glance, it creates the Mahatattva, which is the sum and total of the material creation. And from that, then Kala, which is an actual substance. It's like the mind is the substance, there's the intelligence is the substance, the false ego is a substance. So these things are subtle, but so he creates time, and then from time, he also the fate of all living entities and their particular nature. Well, that's yesterday's verse. He creates the Mahatattva is created by that glance over the unmanifested material nature, the Mahatattva. Then the principles of material creation take place, and that is then time is manifested, and in the course of time, the three qualities, the three modes of material nature. And nature means the three qualitative appearances. They transform into activities. And back here, in yesterday's verse, it says, the Lord, who is the controller of all energies, thus creates by his own potency. He doesn't need any assistance. He does this very casually, just by glancing over his... and this Mahatattva is actually connected to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he's not affected by it. And even though it is his inferior energy, it is his energy, it is connected to him, it's like the shadow of the Lord. And it's manifest and unmanifested. And at this point, it's in an unmanifest state. Then by his glance, it begins to manifest. And one thing sets off a chain reaction. And he does this for the benefit of the rebellious conditioned souls. And who have given up they've used their independence or their free will to try to enjoy separately from the Lord, they believe that they can create their own properties, their own, their own empires, or their own, whatever desires they have. They think that they can live. They want to try, to imitate, to be the Ishwaras, and they're under this burden of this illusion. But the Lord gives them His facility. But He's always with them. He's always with us. He's there. And this individual, Vishnu, the infinite creator, the infinite personality of Godhead, resides in all of our hearts. We have the source of all the universes within our hearts. He's always there. So, this whole story is incredibly beautiful when you listen to it. And when people ask, well, why did Maharaj Parikshit ask for the more confidential pastimes? But again, I stress that Prabhupada says over and over again that these pastimes, these creation and maintenance pastimes, are equally relishable to the devotees. And when you think about it, it is an important thing, because the jiva that in the material world has rebelled against the Lord, has forgotten about Him, and he needs to understand just how great, he needs to know everything about Krishna. And he has to understand just how great and powerful He is, and how caring He is, and how compassionate He is. And this is the process that we're learning here. So, but the residents of Vrindavan, they're not interested. They don't care that who Krishna is. They see all kinds of miraculous things happening, like Mother Jasoda sees the whole cosmic manifestation within her son, a baby's mouth, not once but twice, and she still thinks, well, maybe he's a little hungry, maybe he needs some of my breast milk. So, and just like in the pastime that we read about or that sing about every morning now, Mother Jasoda is reprimanding her son because her neighbors are complaining that he's been very naughty, and he's not only been breaking into their, Jasoda and Maharaj Nanda's stock of butter and yogurt, and feeding it to the monkeys and to his friends, but also he's breaking into the neighbors, and the neighbors are all, you gotta control your boy. He's so beautiful. So he's so beautiful, but you just got to do something about this. So in those days, they would tie the child around the belly with rope. And actually, this I remember when I was young. I must have been about 2 or 3 years old, which would have been around 51, 52. There was like a harness, and then a little thing. It wasn't actually a rope, but kind of a rope. And then there was just outside the back door, there was a sandy area, and my mother had that attached to a clothesline, one of those round clotheslines, so that I wouldn't wander around too much. And so it's not that unusual. And even I don't know if they're still doing, but back about 10 years ago, I saw this trend where people would be walking down the mall or the street and had their child on a leash. I always thought that was a little bizarre, but I could see in the backyard or something where something could go wrong. But anyway, so it's not that. So she wants to tie him up. Now he's the supreme source of. He's the supreme controller. You cannot bind or control the supreme personality of God. He's unlimited. But she takes rope and she tries to tie it. And each time she tries to bind him with the rope, she's always 2 inches too short. And then she goes back and she gets some more rope. And she adds that. And she's still 2 inches short. And she's doing this. And it goes on not just a few times. This goes on all afternoon. She's constant. She's starting to sweat. She's really trying to do this service to protect her son and be a good mother and a good neighbor. And when Krishna sees how there's always these 2 inches missing, And those 2 inches are, they're filled up when Krishna realizes, or not realizes, but he sees the intensity of her love for him and her service to him. Sweat is coming down from her brow, and she's working so hard to protect him. And when he sees how much she loves him and how hard she's working to serve him, he gives 1 inch. And you know what the 2nd inch is?
What?
Kripa, mercy. It's Krishna's mercy. He sees the 1st inch is earned by her devotion and her effort. And the 2nd is Krishna's mercy. And then she can, could you imagine? I mean, this rope, she's doing it all day. It could have been, by the end of the day, it could have been like from here to there. And still 2 inches too short. And she's bringing the rope and tying it 2 inches. I mean, this would have made anyone stop and think, what is going on? This is no ordinary situation here. My boy, he's got some mystic powers or something. But they don't think about that. They don't care that he's God. So here in the material world, we need the awe and reverence and the power. We need to understand how the omnipotency and the power of the Lord, and how easily he can create things, and how difficult it is for us. We need to understand that our place, our position, we're not the all-powerful. And we can't, satisfy everyone's satisfies everyone's desire in our family, in our community. We can barely satisfy our own. It's not such an easy thing. But Krishna does everything effortlessly. And this creation, so here's this creation. He goes and he lies down in the Karana ocean. Karana means cause, it's the causal ocean. And I've often wondered what that meant. And I heard a lecture by one of our leading sannyasi pundits, and he was saying that it is an ocean of causes. Cause is also a substance. And just like the mind is a substance, time is a substance. There is no time in the spiritual world. This time here, it is a substance. The mind is a substance. The false ego is a substance. Intelligence is a substance. Cause is a substance. And from cause, there is effect. He lies down on an ocean of causes. And then through his perspiration, the causes come out through his pores. And then they also through his breathing. And some of them come out from his mouth. Some come out from his nose. Those are larger. They're little bubbles. And they're universes. But they're hollow initially. And some are very large. And some, well, even this small one is very large to our estimation. And there are unlimited universes coming out. All different sizes. And we know that ours, if not the smallest, is definitely one of the smallest because our Brahma only has one head. And we know the pastime where Lord Brahma went to visit the Supreme Lord, and the gatekeeper said, well, who should we say is calling? He said, I'm Lord Brahma. I'm in control of the universe. So they would go and tell Vishnu, and Vishnu says, he comes back and says, which Lord Brahma are you? I'm Lord Brahma with the 4 heads. What do you mean, which Brahma am I? I have the, Brahma, created the universe, 4 heads. And then he realizes that he is amongst, actually all the Brahmas were being called there to see the Lord. And there are Brahmas there with dozens of heads, hundreds of heads, thousands of heads, millions of heads. I've often wondered if that means in those universes, are the people multi-headed? But that means that there must be a lot more pastimes, a lot more going on. But we got enough right here where we are. And we're very fortunate that we're getting this information that through this, but because Srila Prabhupada, and tomorrow's his disappearance day, and we can appreciate the greatness of what he did by understanding the greatness of these literatures. We have vast scriptures, literatures. Devotees are translating so many books right now, but just the books that Prabhupada left us, you can't just read them once. Every time, personally, lately, the more I read them, all of a sudden another level is revealed. I forget what it was last week. It was something. Yeah, I was realizing that how is it that Brahma could be? This was a pastime with the cowherd boys and Krishna, and that is a Gokula, which is the same as Goloka, only in the material world. How can Brahma, who has a material body, be in Gokula? And how can he be a part of those types of pastimes? You have to be qualified to be in Goloka to witness or to enter into. And I thought about it that I'm going to do more research on it, and if anyone has anything they can contribute, I'd appreciate it. But when Krishna, we know the pastime, I read it last week, parts of it, and he expands himself. After Brahma takes all the cowherd boys and the calves, he expands himself into each cowherd boy, each calf, all the facial features, all the little different gestures of each boy, the tenor of their voice, everything exact. But when he reveals that he's expanded himself into those boys and calves, he shows a forearm form, which is not, so it means that, in other words, it's more like in a Vaikuntha realization. So I'm wondering if he's seeing, maybe he's there, but he's not actually in the intimate Gokula past location. Because someone else I heard give a class not too long ago that said that Brahma, there's no way that he could have actually controlled those cowherd boys. They're too elevated. They were sort of some other expansions of the cowherd boys. The real cowherd boys, Brahma could never have put them in a cave unless they led him. I mean, that's somebody was saying like that. But we are getting all of this information, and we're getting to know and this makes, let's just think about it. We're saying there is God. So if you can't accept that there is a supreme controller, that there is an intelligent designer of this universe, if you can't accept that, then we have a problem, and we can discuss that with you. But if you accept that God exists, and put aside your Judeo-Christian or whatever concept of God you have, and accept from this just the possibility that God is a little blue cowherd boy who plays flutes, likes peacock feathers in his hair, likes to take care of cows, lifts the Govardhan hill, levitates it for 7 days. I mean, he likes to dance with the gopis. So, and there is, in this creation, there are fallen angels, as the Catholics would say, rebellious souls. And they come down into the material world. This cowherd boy, Krishna, he doesn't directly come and do all this creation of the universe. He expands himself into a form Vishnu form. And this is how it's done. Now, so there's that. And it sounds very logical. Yes, there's God, and God has these different energies, and he can, just by his glance, do this, and he can do that. Now, on the other side, the scientists, who get paid a lot of money to do these research, to prove that something comes from nothing. Now, which one makes more sense? Does it make any sense that from nothing, this entire creation came about by either a large explosion, and if there was a large explosion and there's nothing, what was it that exploded? And what caused the explosion? Does it make any sense? Or there's the primordial soup, and it's just this big, vast brew of chemicals. and it's mixing around like this, and then somehow or other it starts to form into planets and space and suns and all these different species. You know, there was that famous scientist who said to assume that all of this, even he's the one who did research on DNA and the genome, you know, the gene, and he won a Nobel Prize for his research on that. And he said, so the complexity of the DNA in every body is, it's so complex and so beautifully designed to think that it came about after hundreds of millions or billions of years from just an accidental way through a primordial soup of chemicals is just completely ludicrous, absurd. And that's like to say that if we had some of the materials that make up a 747 plane, and then there was a huge Katrina, hurricane, and after the wind and tornado go away, there would be a 747 plane sitting there. Mm-hmm. Or there's one other person said, to accept some of their they have their string theory, they have their black holes, they have the fluctuation in the void, which is just a belch instead of a bang. So many different theories. But one fellow was saying, this is as ridiculous as saying that after at a printing press, there was a huge explosion, and when the explosion cleared, the smoke cleared, then there was a copy of the Webster's Dictionary sitting there, already printed properly with all the right definitions and so on. That is the absurdity of their proposal. So, you know, we're accepting a very logical explanation of creation. There's no mystery anymore. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to perform all your ridiculous... But that's where they get their money, by making these proposals. And so that they can continue to try to lord it over God's creation. And that is also ridiculous. You may take control of an acre. You may take control of 100 acres. You may take control of a village. You may take control of many villages, a whole continent. You may take control of the whole planet. But you won't last. Like Prabhupada used to say, so your Napoleon, where is he now? He conquered all these countries. Where is he now? Well, these individuals, like Alexander the Great, he conquered so many countries throughout. He defeated all these from Greece all the way across that whole area there, Mesopotamia and then into the Middle East, and defeated the Persian Empire, which is a vast empire. And he hit India, but this took many years. He creates this, but then he's conquered everything, and then he dies. And when they ask, who should inherit, who should be your heir to the throne? And he said, the strongest amongst you, which is, that's just like a recipe for complete chaos. So you may work very hard and build a very nice life for yourself, but you can't take it with you. I mean, there are many times that I've experienced, just in even a few decades that I've been alive, where all of a sudden I have a bank account, I have a family, I have these things, and then gone. And then I have to start all over again. And so that is like death. All of a sudden, at one moment, you're sitting at home, and you have big bank account, you have a car, you have a house, you have nice friends and family surrounding you. But none of these fallible soldiers can save you at the time of death. All of a sudden, someone knocks at your door, and they say, okay, it's time to go. What do you mean? No, but I haven't finished. I mean, I can't, I just got it. I want to enjoy it now. I worked for it. And now you're going to take it from me? So, anyway, this is... And the other things I wanted to mention about this other... Just quickly, I read this verse last week, the one that was yesterday, text 21. And I thought about what it says here. It says, who is the control? The Lord, who is the control of all energies, thus creates by his own potency eternal time, the fate of all living entities, and their particular nature for which they were created, and he again merges them individually. Oh, is it this one? The transcendental world, beyond perception, eternal nature, because of all entities, and he can control everyone. Eternal time. He knows the fate of all living entities, and their particular nature for which they were created. So, in other words, Krishna knows you, knows all of us. He actually knows you. He created you. He knows my fate. He knows my destiny. He knows what I need and what I don't need better than I do. That, we are known by Lord Nityananda. We have some place with Lord Chaitanya. He is aware of us. If that is, we are never alone. And they're complete. We are not abandoned. All we have to do is turn our face to them and make them the center of our lives. Anyway, I think I should end. It's already 8:30, I think. So, anyone have any questions or comments? Yes?
I read a long time ago, but I can't remember where to say, but I got clarification of which is Gokula and which is Gokula.
Goloka is
the planet,
right.
And Gokula is on Earth.
Right.
And I remember it because Kula is like a school for going to the planet, so it helps me remember. But in the Gokula, there is openness for non-devotees to enter and interact.
Yes.
So why not? Why should Brahma not be able to?
Yeah, he can, but it's not the same. That's what I'm saying, though. That's my point. Is that he can't just walk in and out of Goloka. That's the mercy of these pastimes when the Lord comes down. That the living entities at that time get to actually witness the atmosphere of Vrindavan and what is the ultimate expression of love.
There is some coming and going, some interaction.
I just said that, yeah.
Yeah. So that, like if they were threatened with a forest fire and these different difficulties came, and so it affected them. So because it was allowed that some.
Yeah, well, because there's killing of demons. There are demons and there's killing of demons.
Yeah.
There's no demons in Goloka. And there's actually also the pastime of Damodar. There is no pastime in Goloka of the 1 to 5 period. There's no child Krishna. There's no appearance of Krishna. He's already there. So that's why Vishwanath Chakravarti said that these pastimes, the pastimes of the Baal Krishna, Baal Gopal, are the most nectarian, the sweetest. Although there's a mood of it, it's not there. Just like there's no demons being killed in Goloka. So, but it's the fact that that he comes down here for that 125 years, once in a day of Brahma, is another manifestation of his divine mercy on us. And then for us, we get the mercy through oral reception, through the transcendental sound vibration. That's why these books, which are actually sound vibrations from the spiritual world, are so important, and why studying them, not just reading them, but studying them and hearing them and discussing them is one of the 5 processes recommended by Lord Chaitanya. Yes? Yes? What? Oh, sorry. Okay. I can't see. You're just like forms. It's like a mirage. I have imperfect senses.
I just had a comment. I heard one gentleman, he was speaking about the Mahabharata, and he was stating that what is the proof of Alexander the Great? He said the proof of Alexander the Great is just 2 Greek historians.
Right.
If you don't have a chariot, you don't have remains, you have the you had literature from two Greek historians saying this is what happened at that time.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, you can go, and that's even with American history, or more, just within the last few hundred. People are dispute what actually happened in the 60s. I mean, there's different, and there's revisionary writings of history. I keep thinking that chimney is somebody's hand. I keep looking over, it looks like an arm. Okay. Yeah. So everything requires faith. Like, to get on a plane requires faith. To put your money in the bank requires faith. Putting our faith in certain politicians to run our affairs, that also requires, everything requires faith. So Prabhupada said, Krishna consciousness means putting your faith in something sublime. Faith in the disciplic succession of pure devotees and the various incarnations of the Lord. And the actual information they're giving, if you study it, it's very logical, it's very reasonable. It's not, whereas the scientists who are supposed to be the most wisest people, they're playing around in a sandbox, as Mataji said yesterday. They're just playing around in a sandbox, dealing with grains of sand, trying to figure out what happened at the beginning of this universe by looking at things they can't even see and doing mathematical equations. What mathematical equation will they finally get and they see the blue cowherd boy? What equation is that? And it's absolutely ludicrous, and they're being paid enormous sums of money, and they mock this culture. That's what they did to Indian. They went out of their way to mock it, to humiliate the residents of India at that time, because they knew it was something superior. And so it's our business to do good propaganda, and it sells itself. But first of all, we ourselves have to become absorbed in what it is that are in these books, and what are the teachings to our best of our ability. We all have our limitations. Anything else? Yes?
A few things came to my mind when you were talking about Gokula and Goloka. And when I read in the Krishna book, when Prabhu was explaining that when Krishna was telling the demigods to come down, and when he came, it was explaining how all the different incarnations were coming, within Krishna's body, and also all the different Vishnu forms.
Really?
I remember reading it in the Krishna book when he was going to appear in Gokula. And another thing came to my mind was, I said that before, about when you were talking about Brahma stealing, no, I said that one. Yeah, Brahma stealing the different cows and caravans, that Krishna, he's like a multitask person, Supreme Lord, because he does different things and for different reasons, and because his loving devotees wanted a nice, special relationship with him, so he's out of his kindness and his love, he gave him that opportunity to be able to have that relationship, whether it was the mother to the son, or the cows, and everything.
That point about multitasking, in other words, one act satisfies many purposes. And like around, I think it was Katrina, and I was really lamenting, oh God, Krishna, why have you done this to me? And so Kali says, so you mean that this entire hurricane and all this devastation was just I knew, because I was thinking, I knew I did something wrong. So it was just to punish you? I said, well, yeah, I do. Yeah, that's what I think. But it's true. I mean, we all, and sometimes you may be benefited by it, sometimes you, but it's always to your benefit. The phrase "blessing in disguise" is very apropos at so many occasions and points in your life. Sometimes it takes a little while to reflect back and see how that what appeared to be a curse was actually a blessing. So this is the truth. This is the absolute truth. Whereas what the scientists are presenting is lies. And I heard, I think Bhakti True say, he said, the truth is one, the lies are many. You know, in other words, once you start lying, you have to keep layering the lie. The truth is one. You know, Krishna is the creator. And there's no other. Because they have to keep adjusting, like you were saying yesterday, that they do an experiment, like say we mentioned the carbon dating, and then they realized their math was all wrong, it was off, and so they have to readjust. Like I grew up thinking there was a planet called Pluto. Now there may still be a planet called Pluto. Now they've told us no, it wasn't. There may be an object there, but it's not a planet. I mean, I don't know.
A black hole the size of a basketball.
And what is a black hole?
They don't know that.
Now, I wanted to just mention to you, maybe some of you are more aware of this than I am, but I was trying to understand exactly the difference between unmanifested material nature and Mahatattva. So, I have trouble navigating Vanapedia. So then I thought, okay, I'm going to Google it. And unbelievable how much, and it gives me all quotes from Vanapedia. At the bottom of one of these pages, there was a little box. It's a 4.5 minute video, and it's of the proposed design of the Vedic, the TOVP. It's amazing. They show you from the bottom of the universe, and I don't know if this is the way they're actually going to do it. And it goes up, and I don't even know everything that I was seeing. I couldn't figure out, but it starts way down here at the bottom, and then it goes all the way up and up and up and up to Brahma. It's really, this will be a game changer. This will definitely open up a lot of possibilities for preaching, and definitely get people thinking. Yes.
And yet, unfortunately, even the devotees are having an argument.
Yeah, but what I saw looked pretty good.
Some are saying it's planets, which Prabhupada said, yes, it's planets. So they're not showing the planets' relationship with each other, they're showing the dimensions' relationship.
Yeah, and they seem like islands almost, floating. They seem like, not exactly islands, but it's hard to describe, you have to see it. I can't remember which page it was, but I can find out which one it was.
It's still a chandelier, right?
I don't know about that. Yeah, I mean, I think I don't really know. All I know is this little mock-up, this little demonstration, it was really well done, and it really just, it was so enlightened. There's so much to see it.
You can find it again and post
Can I
it
get that
somewhere or
as-
something?
I'll find out which page it was, and then I'll let you know.
Okay.
It was one of the, it was under Mahatattva, and I think it was, if you Google Mahatattva, meaning of Mahatattva, there's a bunch of pages, and one of them, about the fifth one down, said something about Mahatattva Vanapedia. And then at the bottom of that page, there's two boxes. One is a devotee giving an hour-long class on Mahatattva, and next to it is this, it says 360, and it's 4 minutes 30 seconds. You click on that and you see it. But
It's a YouTube.
yeah, I guess it was YouTube. Yeah. I mean, I just Googled it. I don't know what that means. So
Here he goes, he's going to find it.
yeah. Well, if you could find it and show it to people right now, that'd be really nice. I mean, even just the video of it is. I don't know how they're going to actually do this and get, but people will be lining up from Mayapur to Calcutta to get in there to see it. And I heard Mamaswara last year explaining how they want to do it with these like virtual reality headsets, and you see yourself aging
Wow.
like that.
Wow.
And changing bodies.
I already saw that.
Huh?
I already saw that.
I've seen it too. That's now I'm watching it for the last 70 years.
Aging already.
Every day. All right. Anyway, thank you very much.
Especially now my eyes better. I can
Hey,
see it.
Krishna.
Now, so
It's like, don't get your eyes working. Thank you.
Jai Shila Prabhu.
All
Jai.
words, Shri Prabhupada. Jai.